Oh, hello, I'm Joshua Kraus, and today I'll be presenting a PowerPoint on the country in the name of Venezuela, or the long name República Boliviana del Venezuela. So here's the flag of the official country, or the official flag for the country, and the short name most people call it is just Venezuela. Okay. Here is the location of Venezuela. It is located on the north part of South America, right next to Colombia and Guyana, and right underneath is Brazil. The capital of the country is Caracas. Caracas. Sorry about that. It's a word I'm not used to saying so many times. Well, general information about Venezuela is, as the short name I said, Venezuela. It used to have former names as well. The current name was, I believe, adopted in 1999. But the former names were the State of Colombia, the Republic of Venezuela, or the State of Venezuela, and the United States of Venezuela. The type of government is a federal presidential republic, and it got its independence from Spain on July 5th, 1811, thanks to the commander Simon Bolivar, who was in charge of the army, who fought against Spain. Okay. As I said, the government has a president, Nicolas Maduro Marcos, and it has a vice president as well, Delcy Rodriguez Gomez. The United States does not recognize Nicolas's government due to speculation of voter fraud and him manipulating the ballots. So, and they believe that the real person, president, is Juan Guaido. And they have a cabinet, but the cabinet is chosen by the president, and the president is directly elected by the simple majority every 6 years. Every term is 6 years, and there's no term limit. So the current president could be president for until he dies, not like in the United States where we just have 2 terms. Okay. Major exports for their economy, if some of y'all could already think of, is crude petroleum, refined petroleum, industrial oil, alcohols, irons, and gold. The most we hear about Venezuela on the news is the massive oil reserves they have in the country, one of the biggest in the world. And that's the one I mostly assume when I hear Venezuela on the news. And their export partners are India, China, United States, and Spain. Their exports for 2018 costed around $83.4 billion, so a very large amount of money they got from exports. The imports, commodities would be, again, refined petroleum, although now it's mostly agriculture-based rice, corn, tires, soybean, meats, and wheat. The major import partners would be China, the United States, Brazil, Spain, and Mexico. Both Spain and Mexico are at 6%, and the import costs are around $18.4 billion for, again, 2018. The information comes from CIA World Factbook, which I assume is a very reliable source. Okay, this is a very simplified version of Venezuela. It is not like, it doesn't do all its justice, because Venezuela has a very deep and rich history that goes back before the Spaniards came, for the Native Americans who came down from North America and then came to South America. But for this presentation, we like to keep it short, just because we would be here all day if we did the whole history. Native Americans lived in the area for thousands of years when they came down from North America, or the Bering Strait, to North America, to Central America, and then further down. The Europeans called it Venezuela, meaning Little Venice. Christopher Columbus actually explored or landed on the area that would be called Venezuela. in, I believe, in his third voyage. Um, so then after that, the Spaniards took control of Venezuela, or the region that is Venezuela. They would also take control of Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, all those regions before they became countries. Um, the independence movement started in 1797 by a group of Venezuelan Creoles. Um, Creoles are just Europeans who were born in the Americas, so they are second-class citizens compared to the Spaniards, who are first class, and then the natives would be third or fourth at the lower classes, unfortunately. And a very wealthy Creole named Simon Bolivar commanded the Venezuelan forces against the Spaniards. Um, and he has a very large and deep history. His family is from Spain, although he was born in South America. If you go to Spain, to his town, you can see where his family lived, and it's a whole tourist destination. So I didn't know that until I found out later that they keep it as kind of a museum. And then after Simon Bolivar beat the Spaniards, and got their independence, they formed a new country called Gran Colombia, which is was relatively huge. I believe Simon Bolivar wanted it to be like the South America of or the United States of South America, because it had Colombia, Venezuela, what is now parts of Peru, parts of Brazil, and parts of Panama as well. But Panama wasn't a country yet, because when the United States wanted to use the canal or build a canal, it was still part of Colombia. So it lasted for 10 years, and then the parts of the country broke apart to individual countries themselves. Okay. And there's so much more history. And here's Simon Bolivar, him at a younger age, and him as the picture we know him as most, if anyone really knows about him. It's usually that second picture with the sword. And he's a very important person and a revolutionary ideas, and gave South America more freedom and liberty to prosper, and wanted, again, Gran Colombia before it fell apart due to different due to different regional ways of living, and just the regional parts of the country were just too diverse to, I guess, assume keep as one country. But he got a lot of his inspiration also from George Washington, where he heard about and read about George Washington. So that shows too that George Washington is also important figure around the world, and mostly in the Americas. Okay. Here are some older pictures of Venezuela I got from the CIA World Factbook. They're all open or public domain, so there's no like, you don't have to credit them, other than, I'm assuming, the CIA World Factbook. Here is the legislative building, which is the one with the Venezuelan flag with the little sign that says M. I'm assuming for Metro, I'm assuming. And then the people around the big statue are giving flowers to commemorate Simon Boulevard. And then right there, the big land with the clouds, and it's just, I'm assuming, a like open field, or just the environment of Venezuela, or part of it. Okay. Important people from Venezuela are Hugo Chavez, which he was the dictator before the current one. Some people don't see him, or some countries don't see him as the dictator, others do, but I'm not Venezuelan, so I can't really say much. And then you got Simon Bolivar, Francisco de Marada, Oscar de Leon, and Gaby Espino. There's some of the famous Venezuelans you'll hear about, especially Simon Bolivar and Hugo Chavez. Since Hugo Chavez and the president are now in the news a lot, I believe since Hugo Chavez died, his successor, the president, now took over. Okay. Oh, and here's a very famous to me at least, Venezuelan person I really love. Um, I love watching his YouTube content. It's Gabriel Herrera. He vlogs a lot about his time in Venezuela and how he grew up and how he's able to take these trips and stuff, and people think he's working for the government and stuff, but he talks about he isn't, and he was in Spain for the longest time too. So but I've sent some video links of one of his videos I think you like, and a whole playlist of him in Venezuela and talking about Venezuela, the poverty, the and it's all in Spanish too. So if you're learning Spanish, it's really great, great source to learn Spanish. He does talk kind of fast, so it's probably for intermediate learners or advanced learners. But if you put uh closed capturing and what do you call it? Um, what do you call it? Closed capturing and the little titles, subtitles in Spanish, I think you'll get along. And it'll just help you get more knowledge on Spanish and the dialect he uses as well, which isn't very, but like in Chile, they kind of talk really fast, so gonna be experienced. Um, I'll just show you a short clip of one of his videos just to get a, let's see. Oh, is it going? Oh, I don't think it will show here. That's, yes, yeah, well, let me just turn that off. Okay. Come on, man. I'm so sorry, internet. Okay. So, and here's my citations. The parts I didn't cover are mostly about inflation, that they print so much money that people make hats and stuff out of it, and the oil, how since Venezuela has so much oil, their economy is just built around oil, and there's not really much sectors other than oil in their refineries. The United States, I wanted to mention the relationship between the United States and Venezuela are not in a good relationship. They don't recognize the current president and their political views and how they see him as a dictator. But I thought it was weird that they were still doing trades and imports with them. So money still, I guess, controls everything. Um, and so yeah, and I don't think there's really any democracy there, but that's just my opinion. Again, I'm not Venezuelan, so I'll let the people of Venezuela say that, or say whatever they feel like they're entitled to. And that's why I like democracy too. It's just it lets the people talk about their own issues and stuff. And but based on me as an American, I was just told it wasn't a best place to go. The US, I believe the US travel advisory has it listed as for Venezuela in general as a no travel advisory, so they don't recommend traveling at all. I think that's the only country I believe in South America where they have do not travel. The rest of them are reconsider travel or uh, exercise extra caution or just normal precautions. But it's really sad to me, at least, that Venezuela could have been so much better based on their politics now. And I don't think Simon Bolivar would appreciate or like how the government's being run. But that's just my interpretation. No one would know what he really thinks unless he was alive. So yeah, with cutting it short too, so I don't take too much time. Thank you for watching the video and looking at my presentation and PowerPoint. So thank you. Have a good one.